So Disney just announced minutes ago that Kimmel is going to be back on air next week. But they waited a while for all of the controversy over his momentary cancellation to blow over and decided in the moment to delay the drop of the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. They've now dropped it in an effort to distract from the scandal. They're facing a lot of backlash from celebrities and leftist fans alike, who are free speech warriors overnight on behalf of Jimmy Kimmel.
That's crazy.
Not on behalf of Charlie Kirk, the actual free speech martyr, but...
I mean, not on behalf of any of the 10,000 situations in the last...
Regina Carano or Roseanne Barr, you could go down the list. But they have now dropped the trailer, and it was, in fact, delayed due to Jimmy Kimmel's suspension on air. There have now been reactions to the trailer saying what they would have said otherwise. It just looks underwhelming, and the color grading is awful, and
the color grading is
it's
bad
everything you
all.
expect to see from Disney.
You know what else I've realized about about Star Wars in general? Star Wars has, in a lot of ways, the opposite problem of most CGI shows, which is like instead of it being too dark, sometimes it's too light. Like it's overpowered. It's washed out. Daniel Richtman, who gave us the scoop about Voldemort, says, I don't want to sound negative, but this trailer makes the movie feel more like a filler episode of the TV show. Even visually, it doesn't look like an upgrade. It doesn't at all. Like it really doesn't. Like none of it, save for maybe this. I mean, I'm not going to play it. Don't worry. Like maybe save from this scene has like any scope whatsoever. Everything else feels like it just took place in an episode of a TV show.
Right. Geeky from Clownfish TV also said the irony of the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer comment section. Comments about canceling Disney, freedom of speech and censorship, etc. I remember when others did similar in Disney trailers, they just got called MAGA and were dismissed. The hypocrisy is insane.
I do want to point out that if you go to the actual like Star Wars official YouTube account right now and go down to the comments, which by the way, let me refresh. So I apologize if some audio takes off unprepared. Yes. Sorry about that, guys. Under 2 million views in 6 hours. So in the first 24 hours of the release of The Rise of Skywalker, it had a cumulative 111 million views across multiple platforms. Now, I am sure it's much higher than 2 million once you count in the other, like IGN or the other places that rehost the trailer.
Right.
But 2 million views on an official Star Wars account that has 4 million subscribers is insanely low.
And that means Disney isn't what it used to be, Star Wars isn't what it used to be, and Pedro Pascal is not the star power that he is astroturfed to be. And speaking of Pedro Pascal, he signed his name on an open letter that was publicly condemning the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel, along with all of these other celebrities: Adam Scott, Bryan Cranston, Florence Pugh, Jennifer Aniston, Meryl Streep, Jason Bateman, Rainn Wilson, Robert De Niro, Jane Fonda, Selena Gomez, Al Yankovic, Tom Hanks.
All sorts of names. It's 400 names of people who finally came out to defend free speech. It took 10 years, guys, in the cancellation of, mainstream late night propaganda, but they are free speech warriors at last. May you clasp arms with all of them against government overreach.
It's an open letter published by the ACLU. It's funny because you can't even get this many celebrities to unite around an open letter on Palestine.
No.
But you can get them to rally the troops for Jimmy Kimmel.
Yep. I did
Olivia
pull up
Rodrigo also made a statement on Instagram saying, "So upset over this blatant censorship and abuse of power. I stand with Jimmy Kimmel and I stand for freedom of speech."
Yep.
Go off, Queen.
And I do want to point out that still to this day, nobody's providing any proof that the FCC played any role outside of Brendan Carr's comments saying that they might look into what's going on at Disney, which does not constitute proof of anything other than the fact that the ABC affiliates pulled the show, but everybody's framing it in their own way, and whichever way benefits them the most, which is very, very, very annoying.
So now Jimmy Kimmel has been announced to return to air on ABC, and I think they were seeding the ground for this on Friday when Variety reported that they were working to reach compromises to bring his show back.
Oh, I will. Okay, let me refuse. I will give a little bit more context to why people believe that the FCC played a role, because it would be unfair not to. So what is it? It is Nexstar is looking to buy up another company, which would increase their market share. And so they need the FCC's approval on that. So the argument people were making is that they removed Jimmy Kimmel to appease the FCC so that the FCC would approve their acquisition of another company.
Okay.
That's their argument.
What do you think of that argument?
I mean, it's, I guess the facts are there, but that doesn't prove anything, because knowing that they want to buy a company and knowing that the FCC plays a role in whether they get approved for that, that does matter. But I've still seen no correspondence, no release of any emails, nothing that says that the FCC went to these people and big named them, because we know that that most of the time the issues that these affiliate channels and these conglomerates have is with their national counterparts, not necessarily with the FCC. But if more proof comes out that somebody did send an email and there's something there, I'm willing to hear it. But everybody's kind of just running with whatever narrative fits their argument rather than being honest about the lack of information.
I want to read the statement that Disney put out about getting Jimmy Kimmel back on air. Yep. They said, last Wednesday, we made the decision to suspend production on the show to avoid further inflaming a tense situation at an emotional moment for our country. It is a decision we made because we felt some of the comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive. We've spent the last days having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy, and after those conversations, we reached the decision to return the show on Tuesday.
So is that Tuesday tomorrow or next Tuesday? Must be tomorrow?
I guess that they mean tomorrow. I thought they meant next week, but I guess they mean tomorrow. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And it was only on Friday that they said no agreement was in sight, with discussions continuing between Kimmel and Disney, but that was not true.
Yeah. They are pointing out the ill-timed comments. Other people are pointing out that what they heard was a lie and not an ill-timed comment, but his framing of the MAGA types trying to prove that the shooter was not MAGA, which was, of course, weasel words on his part, and done to politically mislead you because he's a ghoul, of course. Sorry, in my opinion, he's a ghoul. We understand that. They understand that. And the thing is, if you go to the comments section now, to anything related to the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer, it's horseshoe theory. I don't know if the people who are telling you to boycott Disney are right-wing activists, or if it's far leftists who are now so upset by the fact that Jimmy Kimmel was taken off the air for a little over a week that they're saying they're going to give up on their consumption of Disney products. I will, however, say without hesitation that only one of those sides will have a hard time actually removing Disney from their lives, and it's not the right. Because most of the time on the right, the people who are calling for boycotts are then annoyed when you do consume the material that they're putting out. Whereas since I never call for boycotts anyways, it doesn't stop me from consuming anything. But I do know that people on the right are going to be a lot happier with your boycott of Disney than the people on the left, who are just going to go right back to consuming the products now that ABC has fallen in line.
I will say I'm super curious to hear what Jimmy Kimmel will say in his monologue once he's back tomorrow. I wonder if he is going to apologize. Probably not, because he was adamant about standing by what he said. And he is going to have to perform an incredible balancing act to keep both Disney happy and supposedly stick by his principles. You know, he can't fully walk back what he said because that would be an admission of a lie. But he also can't still rail against MAGA in the way that he was last week.
And really, when it comes down to it, the trailer for The Mandalorian and Grogu it kind of reinforces just how done Disney is as a company. They can't win from either side. The trailer looked like small scale, mediocre garbage. And as I pointed out, I said the thing that's going to annoy Mary the most is that there is a Hutt character voiced by Jeremy Allen White, which is the most modernity creeping into everything. You can't escape it. You might as well just have a side character that says, and go watch The Bear on Hulu, also owned by Disney at 8/7 Central.
Yeah, it's just slop. And that is politics aside. Disney has been losing on many fronts for a long time now with both the left, right, and center audience. And it's apathy, not anger, that has killed their brand value.
Apathy does way more damage than all the anger in the world.
Yes.
It really does. Like, for all of the anger that came around for cuties, rightfully so, it didn't matter because there's like, even for a brand like Netflix, there is no apathy because everybody just has the streaming service, right? You can kind of price your way out of it because you can be apathetic about something that costs too much, and Netflix costs a lot. But given the fact that they dominate the streaming charts, people don't have so much apathy towards the brand that they pull away because every few months something comes up that seems to be worth their time. But with Disney, there's apathy for Star Wars. There's apathy and hatred for Marvel. There's no excitement around any of the stuff that's made for the girls. I mean, it's all kind of made for women now, but there's no real excitement around any of the Disney princesses or anything like that. They're kind of kept alive by the ones who don't have apathy, and that's the dinks who keep the parks going and consume. Right. So all the hatred in the world won't hurt you nearly as much as people just not caring about your product anymore.
Right.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.